want to be forever young. Do you really want to live forever?
One life,
forever,
one love,
and ever.
one soul.
Today's October 7th, 2019. I'm Brent Nally. We're here at the Westgate Hotel and Casino on Monday morning after 4 or 5 awesome days of RAADFest, depending on how you look at it.
Seems like forever, yeah.
Depending on when you got here. And I'm here with the awesome Yuri Deigin.
Thanks. Yeah, nice to be here.
Yeah, thanks so much for being here. And was this your first RAADFest?
It was actually, yeah, my first time at RAADFest. I've been wanting to come for a while, but this is the first chance I actually had to.
That's the exact same story with me, so I won't repeat it.
All right.
So let's get into your credentials first, and then I want to get back to RAADFest while we're here at the hotel and all these memories are fresh in our minds.
Yes, yes, a lot of memories.
So first, Yuri has a computer science degree from University of Toronto, and then Yuri also has an MBA from Columbia, and Yuri is the CEO of Youthereum Genetics, and Yuri is originally from Russia.
Yeah.
Are you from Moscow originally?
Well, I'm from Moscow. Like originally, I was born in Ukraine, and yeah, moved to Russia, and then from Russia we moved to Canada, and then for business reasons went back to Moscow, and just keep going back and forth between Toronto and Moscow for almost 10 years now. So.
Right. So if you're caught up in the U.S. mainstream media politics, then Yuri should be my enemy. But yet Yuri is definitely a friend, and Yuri should definitely be your friend because he's trying to help us all become more healthy, increase our health spans, our lifespans. So it's really a great pleasure to sit down with you.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm not big on politics.
Yeah,
So
I follow politics, but I do it more to see like what my enemies are doing.
The most number one politics we should be concerned with is our lifespan and not increasing it. The government not spending enough money on increasing our lifespans, and I think that's the most important political issue for everybody right now. And people are just blind and looking at petty politics, whereas the biggest issues they're ignoring. And this is what RAADFest is about. It's creating awareness among people that science is kind of almost there, ready to greatly extend our lifespan. It's just we need a lot more money on research, on actually making it a reality. Sorry, but I kind of like weird off into this politics.
No, that's perfect. There's no wearing off. This is
very
just
passionate about this. Sorry.
Yeah, that's what this is all about. So that was beautiful. That was phenomenal. It was perfect. And let's get numbers, right? Because the latest numbers, according to Dr. Aubrey de Grey and other great speakers here, is it's about 110,000 people dying every single day from age-related conditions. So this is human beings' number one problem. By definition, if you define a problem as death.
Yeah.
And I'm a human. I don't want to die, and I certainly don't want to have years or decades of suffering financially, emotionally, for me and my family before I die, which is what aging does to people. So I'd say this is the number one problem for humans, no matter how you slice it.
Absolutely, yeah. I think everybody who comes to RAADFest shares this notion that this is the number one issue, and it's just sad to see that we're in almost 2020 and still governments are kind of ignoring it.
Right, I completely agree. I'm 34 years old. I've been into the longevity and health movement for about 15 years, so we are definitely the crazy ones. You look like you're around my age, is that?
39, yeah.
Okay, 39, so you've been in this game for a long time too as well, right?
Not as long as you, yeah. I wish I could say I've been here for 15 years. I started in like 2012, I was starting to get interested, and 2013 is when I really got into it, and first as an activist, and then eventually as like more of a business person. I've been in pharmaceutical business development for a long time before that. And then at some point, I kind of translated my knowledge into the realm of creating a therapy in actually longevity space.
Okay.
So this is where I am right now.
Perfect. And with my comment, I want to clarify, this isn't a competition of like who's been this longer. The only reason I brought that up is because I'm making these YouTube videos. I quit my job at LinkedIn, and I'm doing this losing tons of money to bring this content to you guys, and I'm not monetizing anything. I'm doing this because, man, I thought we'd be making more progress by now. When I was 20 years old, I just assumed, hey, by the time I'm 35, we're going to be way further along.
I know, yeah.
Because I read The Singularity is Near in 2006, and I believe in this stuff, and it is happening but I'm trying to help do whatever I can with my skills to accelerate it. So now, just so you know that, let's talk about your skills. What is Youthereum Genetics doing to accelerate this movement?
Sure. Well, Ethereum is a company trying to translate, so create a therapy out of the science of epigenetic rejuvenation by partial reprogramming. So this is something, partial reprogramming, something that's been kind of on the horizon for almost a decade. First of all, reprogramming, that in 2006 was discovered that you can reprogram a cell back into embryonic state, which was kind of a big discovery, because before people thought, that cells are terminally differentiated. They cannot come back into embryonic state. This was a one-way street. Well, it turned out it's not. It's actually a two-way street. You can actually come back and become you were a skin cell, and then you become embryonic, and you can then become back a skin cell, or you can become a neuron, or you can become whatever you want. And in the process of this differentiation or reprogramming, those cells are rejuvenated, and this was a big discovery. And then eventually they figure out that you can actually do this in vivo. And if you use partial reprogramming, not full reprogramming when the cell returns back into embryonic state, but partial reprogramming where a cell remains the same cell that it is when you start the reprogramming process, then this cell can be rejuvenated. And not only the cell, but the entire organism. If enough cells do get rejuvenation, you can extend lifespan of that organism significantly. So at this point, there's been one study in mice that showed that you can extend their lifespan by almost 50%. And this is kind of the proof of concept that got me really excited in 2016. And then in 2017, I founded Youthereum to translate this paradigm, because I too want to, as quickly as possible, to have something tangible, some therapies that we can use, not only within our lifetimes, but within the lifetimes of our parents and grandparents. So, and I thought that it's just not happening quick enough. The academics are, they're not very translational. They're not, they don't seem to have the sense of urgency that we need something as soon as possible. I think they're more content to spend, a decade studying something in detail, which is not a bad thing, but it's just, if you view aging as this kind of terminal disease, which many academics do not, I think we need something as quickly as possible, and to look at aging as people used to look at AIDS, like back in the 80s, where this is something that needs to be cured as quickly as possible. And if people want, have compassionate use, they want to try out therapies as quickly as possible, we need to give that option to people to translate therapies as quickly as possible. So that was my motivation. That said, I'm very happy to see that the partial reprogramming approach is getting a lot of traction these days. It's much quicker than other approaches have been in the past. We already have like at least 3 other companies that are working on it: Turn Bio, David Sinclair's Life Bio with Iduna, and Mike West is also doing some in this space.
Ajax.
Ajax, yeah, they spun out reverse bioengineering to focus on the partial reprogramming. So it's great. I mean, it's great to see that other companies are working on this, and we don't view them as competitors, because in the space of life extension, at least my personal view is that there are no competitors. They're collaborators, and if someone else is successful to get this therapy to the market, I'll be only happier, that someone else has done it, and I can enjoy the benefits of this therapy extending my life and the life of my loved ones. So it's a matter of, I wish them all the success that in the world.
It's a really beautiful thing. I agree with everything that you stated there, everything, because
that's why we're here.
Yeah, that's why we're here. And which reminds me, Yuri has a great YouTube channel as well. Subscribe. There'll be a link in the description below. Please subscribe. So for the audience, he's going to be speaking, and he does some videos in English, but you also do some videos in Russian too, right?
I do. I wouldn't call it great, but thanks. I mean, it's just something I do in my spare time. I wanted to kind of, some people are more, especially young people, are more kind of keen on the video format, and I wanted to explain, the epigenetics of aging and the epigenetics of partial reprogramming. So I created this channel, and then I just post videos of, whatever. I have some speaking video, I just post to it to kind of have it in one place. So
perfect. Well, I definitely just want to hammer home the theme that this is not a competition. We are all working together, and the reason is because we have a common shared goal.
Yeah.
The theme is none of us want to get old and die.
Exactly.
And so whatever team does great work in the aging research, whether it's marketing to help get you there, business to help get you there, whatever your skill sets are, you can get in and contribute in the longevity movement. And we'd be remiss if we didn't mention what Aubrey de Grey just announced on the big screen 2 days ago. Aubrey de Grey was here at RAADFest, but he left on Saturday night, or Saturday night, because he went to fly to announce that the Xprize is now offering a $25 million reward prize to the team that wins the longevity project. And it's too early for us to know what the details are. At least I don't know, because I've been busy here at RAADFest. But do you have any more details that you can share about that, other than this is super exciting?
Well, it's just we've been on this kind of longevity lab for Xprize with Aubrey back in May. It was sponsored by Sergey Young, who's making a big splash in the longevity movement, sponsoring many initiatives, Xprize being one of them. And it was a brainstorming session for, I think, 2 days we were there. There was a lot of experts from the longevity field trying to think about the best Xprize prizes that could stimulate the progress in this field. And I think we narrowed down like 5 potential prizes, and out of which the people from the Xprize Foundation will then pick which one they think is best to stimulate the growth. At this point, we'll be watching closely what exactly they formulate as the prize itself. But it's great to hear that there's so much money.
$25 million.
Yes,
the financial incentives need to align with the reality of the situation. That's what we've been talking about, how governments aren't stepping up from a leadership standpoint. So it's very exciting to see $25 million, because that is a real reward that is going to really incentivize teams to really take a look at this. And so we'll see what the actual details of the prize are.
Yes, and even it's also just from the standpoint of validation of this movement by someone like Xprize, which a lot of people look up to. And if Xprize says longevity is the real deal, I think a lot more people, because it's still, it's 2019, but a lot of people don't think that longevity is a worthy enough pursuit, which is crazy. And people think that this is not mainstream. But if you see people like Peter Diamandis or Xprize getting behind this, I think that to a lot of people, that they now start taking this stuff seriously. So from that standpoint, it's great.
Definitely. And Peter Diamandis is the founder of Xprize, and I believe he's the CEO. He basically runs it. If he's not the CEO, I'm going off memory here. Do you know what his official title is?
I'm sure. It's his baby, but
And he's also the co-founder of Singularity University with Ray Kurzweil, who also came in from video conference here. He couldn't make it because he's a little busy at Google.
Yeah, I'm sure he is.
So also, make sure you follow Yuri on social media. So follow him on LinkedIn, on Facebook. Do you have an Instagram account?
I do, yeah. It's kind of silly, but it's just,
They'll all be linked in the description below. He's being modest. Follow him. And who knows when you're watching this? He might not have a whole lot of followers now in 2019, but you might be watching this in 2023, and you might have a few more followers or something like that at that point. So, all right, so what do you want to talk about right now? I've been kind of controlling things a little bit. What's important to you?
I think it's important to get enough people behind this movement, or just more people behind this movement, to incentivize politicians to start paying attention. Because I think right now it's just below their radar. And I think it would be great for some politician to then take this onto his agenda and maybe make a splash in the whole political movement of embracing these values that we hold so important to ourselves. I know there's some people running. There were some people running for parliament in Europe, Jose Cordero, and then there's the German Transhumanist Party who are getting some votes. So they're making some progress, but I think we need to incentivize many more politicians to start saying things that we think are important to say. That extending lifespan is important, it's desirable, and then we should be funding science to find ways to do so. And I think, from an activist standpoint, to me, that's the most important thing we can do right now.
I completely agree with that. I'm going to share a few things on what I'm personally doing to help out on those things. And this is not ego. This is me sharing that, hey, this is an inspirational message that you can make the change. Figure out what skills you have in your life and you can do it. So Jose Cordero is doing incredible work. And next up, I'm going to be interviewing one of his friends from España, Andres. So stay subscribed for that. The recently announced Director of Global Outreach at BioViva. And also on this YouTube channel a few days ago, I had the opportunity to sit down just behind that wall with Ben Zion, and he announced his nomination as the U.S. Transhumanist Party presidential nominee for 2020. And then yesterday, it's not uploaded yet, but it will be probably when you're watching this, Charlie Cam, Ben Zion, and I did a little three-way interview when Charlie was announced as his running mate for U.S. presidency. So I'm so honored to partner with them on the YouTube videos to bring that to them. And I had no idea this was going to happen. It's just get out there and hustle, contribute. For those that don't know, the comment section is really important for YouTube's algorithms now. So you can just put a comment, a great video or whatever. It doesn't have to be something clever. It triggers the algorithms. It will get this information out to more people. We have to start somewhere. We have to use the skills that we have, the resources that we have to make a change. And with that said, what time is it right now? Can you check for me? Because
yeah, it's 9:12.
Perfect. So we can go another 10 minutes at least. Because my interview with Andres is at 9:30. So I just share that story because these are the kind of the skill sets that I have. This is what, and I didn't know how to YouTube. I'm just learning how to do it. So don't even let that hold you back. If you have financial resources and certain freedoms, then start contributing because aging is coming for us all.
Yeah, and I think as more people start getting on board, I think it creates a snowball effect, and people like politicians will just, won't be able to ignore it. So yeah, just start being vocal in the movement. You don't need any kind of scientific expertise to want to help or to contribute to the movement. You just have to realize that aging is something that we need to fix, and we should get that message out and just day in, day out, keep saying it, and we've been saying it for years, and I think it's now getting a lot of more traction than it used to, like even 5 years ago when I started. I think we have a lot more people taking this seriously and a lot more people understanding that this is something that we can do within our lifetime, take aging under control.
And so you mentioned one thing earlier that happened in 2006 with the cells, and why serious scientists are starting to believe that this is possible, like Dr. Michael West, who stood on stage yesterday right in that room behind the camera and said, hey, I've been doing this for 40 years, and I would never get on stage and say that I believe that we can reverse human aging.
Yeah.
And now he's up there saying that, hey, this is looking like it's happening in certain ways, like this is possible. And let's look at patient zero, Liz Parrish at BioViva. Most people still don't understand what she's done. I've interviewed her on my YouTube channel. I hope to interview her again. I'll be interviewing her Director of Global Outreach at BioViva. I believe that she's done it. Now, time will tell, but when I say done it, I mean that I believe that she's dramatically reversed her human aging more than any other person on the planet based off the biological aging test that she had done before September 15th, 2015, when she had the two gene therapies, the telomerase gene therapy and the myostatin inhibitor gene therapy. And I believe that the results show that, and I've brought some of this information to you, and we hope to get more on this channel and on BioViva's channel. Again, this is not just my channel. I'm just obsessed with this, and so I'm trying to share what I think is important and what people aren't focusing on enough. So I'm going to be quiet now and let you share, any comments about what you think about that.
Yeah, and I mean, Liz sure looks younger than when I met her in 2016.
Hey,
yeah.
it's real. Yes, she really does. She'll be 49 in January of 2020. She did this when she was, 44, because she's 48 right now. She did it September 15th,
Right, she's turning 49, she said, like in a few months. So.
Okay, yeah, and it's in January of 2020. She'll be 49, according to her, and so she looks very good.
She looks good, and telomerase, it's not just the telomeres. Michael Fossil has been talking about this for the longest time, that telomerase might have many other effects that we don't even realize at this point, like rejuvenating effects. So it's great that Liz is publishing her telomere length, and they seem to keep on increasing, at least in her blood cells. But I think there might be other effects that they're helping her maybe feel younger, be younger. And certainly, I mean, it's very early.
I strongly believe that that's the case. I've personally started taking TA65 in 2010, so most people thought it was crazy back then and still don't know what it is now. I don't take it as much anymore because it's expensive, and I think that there's other things that you can do as well. But I feel incredible when I've taken it, and I had my telomeres measured when I was 28 in 2013 by LifeLength. Get your telomeres measured by LifeLength if you want to measure your telomeres. The reason is they're headquartered in Barcelona, Spain. That's not the reason. But the reason is because they have the best electron microscope, at least from my research from the last time I looked in this, to actually measure the telomere length. There's all these other competitor telomere companies out there that say they can do it. But the really important thing is that LifeLength measures your critically short telomeres, which is the most important thing because that is what's going to cause cancer and diseases, cell mutation, basically, because those telomeres get too short. And then what Dr. Bill Andrews says, the telomerase and telomere pioneer, bad things happen when telomeres get short. That's what all the meta-analysis shows. So you just want to keep your telomeres long. That's what telomerase does. It's a micro bioprinter that prints out the telomere code, which is TTAGGG. That's all it does. So I don't see anything wrong with it.
Measure your Horvath clock or methylation clock?
I have not, but I plan to do that. I wanted to do Bill Faloon's largest clinical trial that he announced. It's $595. The window's closing, but there is a group in the Bay Area that I plan to be going to in the next few days to get all my biological aging tested for. And I'm incredibly young. You know, I'm 34, and most people doing this are over 50, and they're in the, oh my gosh, don't wait until it's too late. That's the message here, right? That's why it's great that we're doing this in our 30s.
Yeah, I think BioViva is now offering a methylation clock, and they're going to do like several clocks. They just do, like they sequence your methylation once, and then they use various algorithms like the Horvath clock, the Levin clock, age, and then the other Horvath clock, the Grimm age.
Yes.
You know, they're going to measure like several clocks just by one round of sequencing. So I think, yeah, maybe it would be nice to see your, like, if it's changing, you know, in the reverse direction.
Definitely, and I'm going to announce to Andreas in a few minutes when I interview him that I'm going to be signing up for that as well, and I'm going to be documenting that on the YouTube channel as well as the clinical trial. So, you know, stay subscribed for that. And what about you? Are you thinking about doing those things yourself? Or?
I did measure my methylation clock. I used Zymos, my DNA age. I think it was last year, and yeah, I'll be checking again shortly to see, you know, maybe has it improved, or have I grown younger by some metrics? Or
do you care to share what the results were, or do you want to keep that private?
No, I don't mind. I actually put it up on my Facebook back then. I think it was mostly in line with my chronological age. I think it was like 35. I did it when I was 38 at the time. So I mean, it's not a huge difference. And it's really, the important thing is the dynamics of it. It's like just one data point is not enough. You have to see like what's happening. And for me, mostly it's just an insurance to see if something dramatically changes, usually in a bad way. That could be a marker of me getting some kind of like cancer or something bad happening. Like if I measure the methylation age and all of a sudden it says I'm 45, then I know something's wrong and I have to look into it more closely.
Right, and that's why sometimes you'll have to jump through hoops to do certain things in the longevity movement when you're younger. When I got my telomeres measured when I was 28, I had to jump through some hoops back then in 2013. I had to go to an anti-aging doctor in San Francisco and pay him. I had to take all these questions like, why are you doing this? You're 28. And I was like, well, number one, I want to know. But number two, I want to contribute to the scientific research, because we don't just want a bunch of 70 and 80 and 90-year-olds, you know, telomere lengths when they're close to death because they waited so long and the science wasn't there. I wanted to contribute to that research, and so it cost me a considerably more amount of money than it probably does now. I haven't looked into my telomere measuring with LifeLength in the last couple of years, but you know, my general point is don't let certain roadblocks hold you up. Just realize that those roadblocks are you paving through them to pave the way for others. It comes back to the fact that we are all in this together. And there's things that you can do that might seem difficult in the short term that could actually end up being really positive for others in the future.
Yeah, let's hope they come to fruition, and then in the next 5 years we'll have some groundbreaking therapies entering the market that can significantly prolong lifespan.
Perfect. Well, we have gene therapy, but it's super expensive. So hopefully we can make this more affordable, but we already know exists as well too, right?
Yeah, that's one point of criticism that I hear, that it's way too early to be offering people gene therapy. But I think if it's good to give people an option. I mean, nobody's saying that gene therapy is validated or it's the effects are completely validated in humans. No, it's very early. But for people who don't have the time to wait, maybe they're already very old or they have some kind of disease, maybe they have Alzheimer's, and they want to have the chance to actually do it. I mean, who are we to say that, no, you have to wait 10 more years for FDA to approve for you to be able to do this? I think if people want to, and it's great that companies are offering this chance for people. And unfortunately, it costs a lot right now, but hopefully at some point, it'll be much more affordable.
Right, and it's an economies of scale problem. So again, it just comes back to the same message. Just we got to keep fighting at this. We got to keep trying. We got to throw everything we can at this, and I think that we're making some great progress.
I agree. Yeah, I think to me, it's more like compassionate use back in the AIDS days when people want to have something to try, and if they're willing, they have to take the risk because they know that their odds are kind of against them. I think it should be available for them to do so. So I look at it from this standpoint.
Perfect. Well, Yuri, I believe that your personal reality creates your personality, or your personality creates your personal reality. And I think you have an incredible personality. I really enjoy, what your message is, what you're doing, and I pretty much thought that of almost everybody here that I ran into with RAADFest. Come out to RAADFest next year. This was an incredible event. You'll connect with incredible people, the energy. Man, I'm wondering when this is going to come down, my energy, right? Because this was incredible. And so I want to let you share some final thoughts, and then I have to go interview Dr. Andreas.
Sure. Yeah, it's great to see so many like-minded people, and many people have used this tribe metaphor, that these are people of the same tribe, that we might not agree on some issues and might have different visions of what science to promote or what science to trust, but we all have the same mindset that aging is our common enemy, and we need to be doing everything possible to, as quickly as possible, to defeat it. And I think that's the most common thing that unites us. We're very different in other respects, but in one thing we know, the number one important problem of humanity, aging, we're agreeing that this is the number one problem. So it's great to see so many like-minded people, not just to see, but to spend time with them for 5 days or 4 days immersed in conversations. So I think, it's an incredible feeling afterwards that you're part of this huge community, huge tribe of people who think like you. And I think, come to next RAADFest and I think get this kind of recharged emotionally and inspired to do great things in the next year ahead. I sure have been inspired to kind of keep moving on and keep moving the science forward, translational science. So let's hope that other people have too, and we're going to see acceleration of the progress in the science and translational space.
Perfect. So don't forget, subscribe to Yuri's YouTube channel. So follow him on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Don't let his modesty fool you. Follow him. He's doing incredible things, and we have to support each other. If you haven't yet, comment, like, subscribe, share this video with a friend, a family member, and you get the last word.
Oh, well, thanks for interviewing me. It's really been a pleasure to speak with you during the conference, and I hope we'll have many more chances to talk about this and have positive developments to discuss, maybe new breakthrough therapies and new results from animals that we'll be even more excited about. Maybe Xprize will stimulate people to create a mouse with a double lifespan, triple lifespan, who knows. It's really exciting to be at this point in history. I think we're kind of on the cusp of exponential increase in many technologies, and biology being one of them. And hopefully, in our lifetime, in the lifetime of our grandparents and parents, we'll see some meaningful life extension that they can enjoy. So thanks, and let's keep in touch.
Perfect. All right. Bye, everybody.
One mind, one love.
Let's start.
One heart,
Let's start.
one soul.
Let's start.
One life.
for the best, but expecting the worst. Are you gonna drop the bomb or not? Let us die young or let us live forever. We don't have the power, but we never say never. Sitting in a sand pit, life is a short trip. The music's for the sad men. Can you imagine when the race is run? Turn our golden faces into the sun. Praising our leaders, we're getting in tune. The music's played by the madman. To be forever young. Do you really want to live forever?
One life,
forever,
one love,
and ever.
one soul.